We are back at it again. What is up, family? I hope all is well. Today, we are going to talk about breakthroughs, how we can get over the hump. If you're feeling stuck, family, if you're feeling stuck in your personal and your professional life, and you're looking just for a little bit of boost, or to know how to get over that hump and to get things moving in your life, then stay tuned. We're going to talk about some key powerful techniques that you can use today to get it moving in your personal life, whether it be in your relationships, in your professional life, whether it be in idea creation, whether it be in just making that next step, taking that next step in your life. We're going to talk about it. Breakthrough. So stay tuned. Now, if you are looking for more life hacks to help you discover your greatness and truly create the life of your dreams, then subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified once I post a new video every single week. So if you've been following this channel for a little while, you've heard me talk about this, but one of the toughest moments of my life was when I first stopped playing football. I was in a space of not really knowing what was going to happen next. And I was kind of feeling bad for myself, feeling some guilt, feeling some shame. I didn't really know what kind of emotions were coming up for me, but I was going through some things. And a big turning point for me actually was when there was a moment when I was playing video games and I was kind of losing my physique. I was eating the same way I was eating when I was playing football. And, I just wasn't in a great space. And I didn't really know it at the time. But my wife, she had taken a picture of me on this Polaroid camera. And I remember looking at that picture and not liking what I saw. And it wasn't just a physical thing. I could see myself from an outside perspective, and I could tell that I wasn't really in a great space. I wasn't in a space that I liked, and I wasn't in a space that I enjoyed. And a huge breakthrough for me came after experiencing that. And my breakthrough personally in my personal and professional life was the realization that I was still holding so much resentment for the NFL. I was holding resentment and I was cutting off a huge aspect of myself as an athlete. And I was doing it to prove to myself that I was more than an athlete. But because I was holding that resentment and because I was shunning off a huge part of myself, I was actually, playing the game of life shorthanded. And a huge breakthrough moment came for me when I started to show that aspect of myself, love and compassion, and learn the lessons that I had learned all these years of my life. And I had really revisited that side of me. And kind of reverse the whole process of looking back at my life and having resentment towards, specifically football and the NFL. And so that was a huge breakthrough moment for me. And once I had that breakthrough, I was able to have a lot more flow in my life. And so that's my personal story. A lot of you will have completely different stories, but the breakthrough moment is so powerful. Now, what are breakthroughs? Breakthroughs, if I had to give a definition, it's like a sudden discovery or revelation that truly changes the course of your life and ensures things will never be the same again. And it's not just an intellectual discovery. It's also, you have to take action before the breakthrough can truly create change in your life. Breakthroughs are also just those sudden opening up, those sudden opportunities that may come out of nowhere that just feels like your life is opened up to new possibilities. So if it's just feeling stuck and things aren't moving correctly, those breakthrough moments are when you just feel like the floodgates open up again, or a door opens up with so many opportunities and things get moving again. So we're going to talk about breakthroughs and how we can start to cheat a little bit to get this thing moving in our life and have our own personal and professional breakthroughs. So a lot of these techniques I use to get out of the space I was in. And so I know it'll be able to help you out as well. The first step that I want to give you is to ask powerful questions. And when you ask those questions, this can be towards your intuition. You can ask these questions to the universe, to God, whoever you believe in, and higher power. But when you ask the question, ask powerful questions. And questions are so important because questions begin to unlock resources in your mind that you might not even know that were available to you. And when when you're in a meditation, and when you clear your mind and you ask yourself a powerful question like, what is it that will bring me joy and fulfillment in life? The answer may not come immediately. It may not come that day. But if you keep your mind and keep your focus on this question, the answer will come. I promise you. It may come in the form of a book that you walk by and start to pick up and read. It may come in the form of another person talking to you, or a random stranger speaking to you. It may be a license plate. It may be a billboard that you come by. But what I want you to understand is this world, this universe that we live in is truly magical. And I can't tell you how many times I've asked a question, or I've been pondering something, and because I was open to receiving the answer came in a way that I didn't even expect it to. And so it's super powerful. When you ask powerful questions, you start to be able to come up with the answers, or you start to see the answers when you patiently listen and wait for the answers to come to you. It's like a kid asking their parent their question, and they're waiting for the answer. When you ask the question, sometimes you just got to shut up after that and listen and just be quiet and see how the universe brings that answer to you. A lot of times it'll come up in your intuition, or you'll get to a point where you have a realization and you start typing in something, you start looking for it, but ask powerful questions. When you ask powerful questions, you get powerful answers. What are some things that will create joy in my life? What are the things in my life that are holding me back from living out my dream? What are some resources that I have available to me that can help me get to where it is that I want to go? Write these things out and start to develop these questions to the point where you can really fine tune it and get the answers that you need. For me, one of the main questions I kept asking myself is, what are the next steps? What can I do right now to get to where I want to go? Another question I would always ask myself is, what do I want? What exactly do I want? What will set my spirit free? What will give me true fulfillment? You keep asking these questions, you will find the answer. But a lot of us don't ask questions, and we look outside of ourselves to continue to find answers to things. But a lot of times intuition is all that we need, and we know what it is that we need. We just got to ask ourselves powerful questions. So to start off, ask yourself a powerful question. 2, the next step is to analyze your stories. What do I mean by that? Analyze your stories. What story are you giving to your current situation? Do you have limiting beliefs surrounding the situation you're in? For me, when I was in that situation where I had just stopped playing football, I had to analyze the story I was telling myself. Am I taking responsibility for where I'm at, or am I blaming it on the NFL? Am I blaming it on a coach that I didn't get along with? Am I blaming, my situation on my knee that blew out on me? Am I taking full responsibility for it? Maybe I could have done something better. My nutrition could have been better. Analyze the meaning that you're giving behind things. There's a very powerful book called Man's Search for Meaning. I forget who the author is, but it's a book that talks about the Holocaust, and there's a lot of different narratives in that book. Actually, there's one perspective, and the guy who's speaking is talking about his perspective. He was actually in the Holocaust, and it just goes over, how this traumatic experience was happening, and it shows how different people dealt with it and how people were able to get through it once they created a powerful meaning behind every moment in their life. Every moment in that experience, they were able to grasp onto something bigger, and they were able to tell themselves a story that continued to elevate them to get through the toughest thing you could ever imagine for yourself. Two people can go through the same experience and tell a whole different story about what it meant to them. So analyze the stories you're giving yourself. If you're telling yourself that you are in the position that you are in because the man or somebody out there is holding you down, and you can't get past this situation because somebody else out there is holding you down, and you're telling yourself that story, then you have to understand that there is no way that you are going to have your breakthrough in that area, because you already set up a whole story. You've set up a whole situation where you can't win. It's out of your control. Analyze the stories that you are telling yourself. Truly feel empowered in the meaning that you give behind every single moment in life. If you want to have a breakthrough moment, then you have to truly create a story, create meaning behind where you're at, and understand that you can get out of that. So the meaning, the story that you've given yourself, see what it is that you've been telling yourself, and see if there's something if there's a belief, a limiting thought, if you're speaking it to yourself in a way that is holding you back. And you do that through analyzing your stories. Super powerful. The third step that I want to give you to creating breakthroughs is to identify and remove stagnant energy in your environment. This can be like your actual environment, your house, if there's a lot of mess. I don't know if you all have heard of feng shui, and I'm not a master of feng shui, but I've done research on it, and I've actually changed my house around to create more energy. But pretty much feng shui is a practice, it's an idea of, people will structure their house and structure their office space in the way that creates the most flow of energy throughout it. So for example, one of the things that I did is my office space, I used to have a desk and I would have it right sitting up on the wall. One of the things that they talk about, if you want to make your house and your space more feng shui, in the office especially, is to face the door or have some space between the desk and the door. So you're creating more of an open pathway that you feel on a constant basis. And when you do that, you start to attract more abundance. You start to attract different things in your life. That's just one example. But you will be surprised, or maybe you won't be surprised, but I was surprised at how powerful it can be to just come into a clean space, a clean room. If there's a whole bunch of mess in your environment, it can truly affect the way you think, and it can affect the overall flow of what comes in and out of your life. It truly can. One of the things my dad used to always say when I was growing up was, cleanliness is the closest thing to godliness. And there's a lot of truth in that. If you understand and recognize that everything around us is energy, and energy can sit in a pillow, it can sit in a refrigerator. If you have a whole bunch of stagnant energy in your refrigerator, what do you think that's going to do to your food? If you're sitting there cooking in a kitchen that's completely dirty, what do you think that's going to do to the energy in your environment? So it's super important to understand that. You can identify some stagnant energy in your immediate environment. You can clear that up. You'll be surprised to how much more flow comes into your life, how many more breakthroughs are possible when you do that. Relationships. What are some stagnant relationships? Or relationships that just have some negative energy that's continuing to come into your life. One of my best friends, and he was in a relationship a couple years back that wasn't really fulfilling for him. They were not really getting along too well, and she's a really good girl, but for whatever reason they weren't connecting well. They were arguing a lot, and he in his professional career was having some trouble getting things moving. Things were a bit stagnant, things were a bit stuck for him. And the moment he made the decision to cut that relationship off, or they made the decision together you started to see things open up in his whole life and his whole career. And very soon after, he started getting more opportunities. And one of the main opportunities that he got was he ended up almost immediately getting the opportunity to go on a tour across the world as a photographer for this major artist. And I won't really say the name of him, but it's a major artist that everyone's heard of before. And this is the biggest thing that's ever happened in his life. And I promise you, a lot of it happened because he wasn't continuing to run into the stagnant energy in his environment anymore. He had opened it up. You know, it can be a profession. It can be your job. If you're sitting there and going into a stagnant environment constantly, that can hold you back from breakthroughs in your personal life and in your professional life. One of the things that's interesting about manifestations and setting intentions, you know, when you get super clear about what it is that you want and you set a powerful intention of the life that you want to live, it's hilarious what usually happens with your current job and your current situation. It feels like you go backwards first, like you may lose your job or you may get into a huge fight in this relationship or with your boss, and it seems like life is crumbling down, but really it's just removing the stagnant energy to create flow into your life in another direction, the direction that you want and the direction that you're trying to go. It's amazing how the universe works, but there are a lot of areas in our life that may be stagnant, that may be negative, that may be really holding us back. And if we can identify it and start to clear that energy, we start to open up space for more flow and for more breakthroughs, you know? So look at it. Look at your life and start to identify what are some areas that I can clear up that can create more flow, energetic flow in our life so we can create some breakthroughs. Actually, before we go a step forward, I want you to leave a comment. Leave a comment. And in that comment, I want you to say if there are any relationships in your life that you know are holding you back from your that are limiting your potential. What are some relationships in your life that you know are limiting your potential, that you know if you just cleared this relationship out, that it would create more flow in your life? You don't have to air anybody's name out in specific, but just say, you know, my auntie is giving me a lot of trouble. And I know that if I were to just create some space in that relationship, that I would create more flow in my life. Or maybe it's your boss. If I could just create some space from this ignorant manager, that I know that I would have more flow in my life. We all have somebody. We all have something that's, you know, stagnant. So start to identify those things. And the fourth and the final step, and this is, I think, is the most important step. If those first three steps were more exploratory in nature and identifying, this next step is one of the most important steps, and it's to take action. Take action. Once you take action, you really set in motion that breakthrough. If it's just sitting in your head and it's just an intellectual aha, I have to do this, but you don't take any steps forward, then nothing's gonna happen. You have to take massive action. One of the things I really respect about Tony Robbins is he talks about this, and he has a very powerful technique that he teaches called the RPM method, the rapid planning method. And it talks about, you know, results, purpose, and massive action. So some really good questions you can ask yourself to start to identify what actions to take. What are the specific results that I want? Not what is it that I want? What are the results that I want? So I want to, you know, have a really good life, but what are the exact results that I want? Maybe it is to get a new house, right? You know the exact result that you want. And the more exact you are, the more powerful this method is. So find the result that you want. The P is for purpose. The why. Why do I want this new house? Come up with some very powerful reasons of why. Some purpose-driven reasons why. I want this house because I want my child to grow up in a space and an environment where they know that anything is possible. That is purpose driven. You have the result, you have the purpose, the big why, and now the M is for massive action. What action can I take immediately to move towards that result? You have the fuel and the why, you have the actual target that you want and the result. The massive action is what steps can I take right now to move towards it? And then you take the action. You don't just keep it up in your head. You take the step. You move forward. You make a change in your life. And family, once you take those action steps, once you put a plan in place, once you set a date on something, I'm telling you, the world will start to make it happen for you. If you just keep moving forward, the opportunities will come. The people in your life, the resources that you need to make it happen will come. But you have to take the first step. Don't let it sit in your head. Don't let it sit in your heart. Don't let it sit in your spirit. Move. Move, move, move. I can't stress that enough. Taking action is the most important step to creating breakthroughs. And I've had a huge problem with this in my life. I can truly keep things in my head and continue to think about, all the things that can go wrong. And I can get super stagnant in that space when I do that. It's a thing for me, and trying to be perfect all the time. But when I take action, that's when I start to see the results happen. That's when I start to see the breakthroughs happen. And all of a sudden these synchronicities happen. Good luck starts to come out of nowhere. And so, family, take action. If you do these things, you will start to create more breakthroughs in your life. You'll start to have more flow in your life, and you'll start to see things moving in the direction that you want, in the direction of your dreams. And it'll be a powerful, powerful, powerful experience for you. In order to do this, it takes a lot of awareness. And to train your awareness, meditation is one of the best ways to do it. And so, family, what I've done is I've created a free meditation guide called Finding Your Zen. And you can find it in the link in the description below. And if you are looking to have a powerful meditation practice, whether you're new or whether you've done meditation before, and you want to create more inner love in your life, more inner awareness, follow the link in the description below. Download it. It's free to you, and it is super, super powerful, and it'll help you out in so many ways. And so with that being said, thanks for watching. Here are some more videos that you can check out to help you discover your greatness and truly tap into that infinite power, that infinite wisdom, that infinite potential that exists within you. If this video resonated with you, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share with someone you love that may need to hear it as well. I love you all. Again, thank you for listening, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.